Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of Overlooked Modules, and today we're going to be taking a look at this one right here, the 2HP Bell. Very cool little module, and going to dive into it in just a minute. But first, if you have not seen this series before, please check out the playlist link in the description. I have 12 episodes of this already. I think this is episode 13 today. And these are just modules that I think that a lot of people just overlook, and sometimes they're some of the most useful modules, and sometimes they're some of the most inexpensive modules. So today we're going to take a closer look at the Bell from 2HP. You know, 2HP has a kick and a snare and a hi-hat and whatnot, and most people thought that this was a cowbell module, but it's not. It's actually something quite different. It's actually a physical modeling synth. Okay, to start things off, I'm going to plug a trigger into this top jack here, and we hear kind of a bell-like sound. Well, real quick, let's just look up and down here. We've got a model knob here along with the CV input. We've got a damp knob along with the CV input. We've got our volt per octave. We've got a pitch knob, and then of course our output and our trigger in at the top. So first things first, let's run through the range here. So we can go from very low all the way to very high. It's got quite a range. For now, I'm going to put it down in this range here. Maybe a little bit lower. There we go. Now let's mess with the damping here, because this really changes the sound of it. So as I turn this up, we get a lot more decay. And as I turn it down, we'll get to more of like a pluck. I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle here for now. And then this model actually has 8 different preloaded patches in here. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So a lot of different sounds in this little thing. Now, this pattern I'm playing right now isn't all that interesting, so let's trade it out for a different trigger pattern that's not just a straight click like that. So now we start to hear something that's a little more interesting. But we can also feed in a 1 volt per octave sequence, so let's do that as well. Okay, so now you start to see the beauty of this module. Now let's cycle through some of these different models. And of course you could adjust the pitch of the entire sequence as well if you want it really deep like that, or if you want something that's a little bit brighter. Okay, so there. A lot of really neat timbres. As we go through here, there's a lot of really cool sounds in there. And then of course with each one you can adjust the damp and get something that's rings a lot like that, and you can probably hear the polyphony there. So it actually, those notes kind of ring on top of each other. Or we can go to something really plucky. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick something here. There we go, so it sounds nice. Well, of course, we have CV, so we can modulate the damping. So let me do that with an LFO here. I just think that's so pretty when you do that. Love that. We can also modulate the model so that as the LFO cycles, we'll change to different types of bells. And of course, you can modulate both of them at the same time. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking right now. That is crying out for delay, and you are right. So let me go ahead and plug that into a delay, and then we'll plug the delay into our output here. So here we go. And wow. Suddenly becomes very, very interesting. And even if I take this out, there's just a lot of possibilities of what you can do here. Possibilities. One other thing I want to show you here, you notice it's right next to the DSM-03 feedback module, which actually was a previous overlooked module because I think that it is a great module as well, and unfortunately now you can't get any more of them. But let me show you something else we can do with this. So I'm going to move the output over here to the DSM-03, and then I'm going to route the output of the bell into that. And so at first we don't really hear any difference. But we did just add a filter. So now I can change a lot of those timbres. And let's go ahead and kick the dampening up a little. So it gives me a filter right away. But also I've got this feedback control. So as I pull this up, now we start to get something really crazy. And of course, we can modulate that filter. And we can also modulate the damping over here. And we can start to get some really crazy textures. And we can even, if we want, and I know this isn't supposed to be a this is supposed to be a demo of the DSM-03, but we can modulate the feedback level as well. And combine that with modulating the damping level. And if we really wanted to, we could even come over and modulate the feedback level on the delay, which I just plugged in, and now we've got a whole bunch of feedback happening with such a simple sound. So keep in mind, the only sound source being used here is the 2HP bell. Beautiful. Such a simple sound, but it just sounds great. So that was just a couple of the things you can do with the 2HP bell. One of the reasons I like this module so much is it is just 2 HP, so you could always find room to squeeze it into a rack just because it's so small. But in addition, brand new, these modules are $149 if you buy a brand new one from the 2 HP website. And if you look for them on the used market, you can regularly find them for around $100. I got this used, I think I paid like $98 or something like that for it. So you can regularly find them around $100, and for $100, I mean, this is a no-brainer. It just has a lot of beautiful sounds inside there, and very simple little module, takes up very little space. It's the 2 HP bell.